$1 million Bitcoin has become the new long-term target for Bitcoiners, and many people are just saying, man, can we just secure 100K first? But what if we told you it's not as crazy as it sounds? With all the recent positive developments surrounding Bitcoin, like the most successful ETF launch ever, banks approved to custody Bitcoin, nation states talking about buying Bitcoin, and the regulatory hurdles falling by the wayside, it's hard to see how Bitcoin's best days are over. But it's not just us at Simply Bitcoin who think the price is still going to make aggressive moves upwards. One of the oldest and largest Bitcoin funds is now bull posting about 10x price gains by 2029. You heard me correctly, 10x price gains by 2029. So let's watch the clip and then let's discuss the science or the math behind this.
My favorite view of the value of Bitcoin on a long-term basis is to look at the size of the market it's going after. I think Bitcoin is well on its way to disrupting gold. That's a $20 trillion market. I think it's going to be used for international transaction and cross-border transactions. That's another many trillion-dollar market. And then you can divide that by the number of Bitcoin and you end up with a target amount. At Bitwise, we think it's going to cross $1 million by 2029. I think from a shorter-term perspective, you can just look at supply and demand in the market. Right? The big criticism of Bitcoin is the price is set by supply and demand. But that's also a real benefit when you're in a market like today, where again, we're producing 160,000 Bitcoin a year and ETFs are buying 500,000. Right? Something has to give. And I think what gives is price resistance and ultimately it goes higher.
I think every pension fund should be allocated to Bitcoin. When I was a reporter, I covered just how so many of these pension funds are essentially underwater. It's so sad. But I heard actually, and I'm curious if you could tell me if this is true, that let's say there's a pension fund interested in allocating to Bitcoin. They actually have to go out and meet with a consultant for the consultant to do due diligence on Bitcoin. And that could take months and months. And if the consultant says, no, you shouldn't invest in it, then they just pass on it. Is that true? Are there gatekeepers?
It's mostly true. Yeah. So, I mean, the deep institutional investor market is a market with tier after tier after tier, because those people want their jobs. And if it goes wrong, they want someone to point at and say it was their fault. That said, we've been working with a number of consultants for a significant number of years, and many of them are already allocating. That's why you're starting to see this bubble up through the end. I'll add one more thought from an institutional perspective, because I think people overlook it. Crypto's a $3 trillion market right now. If you have a 0% allocation to crypto, you're effectively short. Right? When we talk about people allocating 1 or 2% to Bitcoin, that's just to get to neutral. And I think institutions are starting to recognize that. Once you accept it as part of this pie, you need to have at least a little bit, or you're making an active bet against it. And they're not comfortable doing that either. So I think you're going to see this 1-2% thing.
Incredible. And I know you guys have been yelling at me about no memes. I know it's Friday, but I am kind of starting with a meme here. We have Pierre Rochard here, and then I'm going to, go in through some of the data we're looking at over here at Simply Bitcoin. Pierre Rochard goes, we went from, quote, Bitcoin will never win, it's going to fail, to a Bitcoin is winning too much, so it's going to fail. The vibe shift is real. Hyper-Bitcoinization is real. The information asymmetry is compounded by logic asymmetry. We are so early. And this tweet here is a screenshot of basically saying what, you're hearing a lot of the critics say about Bitcoin. It's like, I thought it was the separation of money and state, and now Bitcoiners are cheering on nation states and institutional assets or managers coming into Bitcoin. Like, which one is it, bro? And it's like, hey, Bitcoin is just winning so hard, people have to shift their narratives. Anyways, the next thing we saw this morning, and this just came out early this morning, we have Bo Hines, of course, the White House Digital Asset Director, and he's going in and talking about all the different ways that they are thinking about buying Bitcoin. Of course, we've heard the meme of budget neutral ways to buy Bitcoin. Well, this clip here, I don't think I'm going to play it. I can play it after. He's saying that maybe, we rewrite our gold holdings, we mark them up, or potentially selling the gold to buy Bitcoin. Obviously, we're starting to hear that the digital gold meme is really catching on. People really love this digital gold meme right now. And hey, if they're going to sell analog gold for digital gold, I don't know. It seems like we are entering a new paradigm. Now, we also been bringing this up a lot on the show. We had the Bitwise CEO right now say, essentially, the crypto market is $3 trillion. The Bitcoin market, it's hovering a little under $2 trillion. But if you look at the global assets around the world, we put this chart on this show many times to try to beat this idea into your head that, look, Bitcoin is tiny in the grand scheme of things. In the global wealth of where Bitcoin is, it's tiny. Of course, the numbers that are kind of thrown around is $900 trillion. Bitcoin's at $2 trillion. This is a little old because gold's roughly around, I think, like 19.6 trillion right now. So even if Bitcoin just gets to gold's market cap, roughly around $20 trillion, that's a 10x from here, just passing gold. And I'm going to play you a clip for Saylor after this in the numbers where he was at the Digital Asset Summit yesterday, and he got so bullish on Bitcoin that I was trolling on Twitter that 200x is still in play. So some of these numbers start to get incredible when you realize just how much demand there is going into Bitcoin. And of course, it's hard capped at 21 million. And the last chart I want to bring up here, we brought this up, but River's done really good analysis here. And they've been saying that it seems like Bitcoin is only at around 3% of adoption globally. So I've been telling you guys this constantly on the show. If you talk to an average person, they don't understand Bitcoin. And even if you do talk to people that have Bitcoin exposure, I think a small portion of them even understand what Bitcoin is. So for everyone out there that's saying, oh, you guys are just hopium dealers, you guys are bull posting too much, I just think you don't understand what digital scarcity means in a world that can literally print infinite money. And we're starting to see that there's a paradigm shift going on right now. People are starting to take Bitcoin seriously. And so I know we are all kind of beaten down by the Bitcoin price. And there's a lot of Bitcoiners that are like, oh, the price doesn't matter. The number go up, freedom go up, aspects of Bitcoin are the most important. The fundamentals of Bitcoin are the most important aspect of Bitcoin. And I totally agree. But the adoption levels of Bitcoin are definitely run by how high the price goes up. Number goes up, brings more adoption. And of course, with more adoption brings the utility of Bitcoin up, which, as we like to say, will bring freedom go up around the world. So I think right now is the best time to be buying Bitcoin. As we've been seeing and covering around the world right now, the risk level around Bitcoin is the least it's ever been. This is the least risky time to buy Bitcoin. So I still find it amazing that people are out there being skeptical. People are out there being super bearish around Bitcoin. It's like, I don't know what you're seeing, but I'm starting to see that the adoption levels around Bitcoin are going to go into overdrive. Everyone wants your Bitcoin. We're seeing we're seeing the banks starting to get that FOMO, like, I want to custody your Bitcoin. We're seeing, Trump talk about, hey, we're trying to buy as much Bitcoin as possible. We're seeing even Russia starting to kind of play the game too and be like, hey, if you're a Russian citizen and you have some wealth, we want you using Bitcoin. So the global game theory is playing out. I think it's not too crazy to say that we are going to see an incredible price movement from here on until 2029. That's one more cycle from now. Obviously, we're still early in this year. I think we still have a lot of room to run by the end of 2025. And of course, it's Friday, so we got to give you a little hopium for the weekend. We all know you guys love the hopium here, but really, in reality, as far as I'm concerned, I think the game in Bitcoin is still so early. I really don't get people that say, oh, Bitcoin is over. I know we've been seeing a lot of talk about diminishing returns. We were even kind of trolling on Tuesday, I think, Nico, where we're like, man, maybe the cycle theory is breaking. But I think everything's lining up perfectly around Bitcoin as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, guys, I ranted too much. Of course, I got Nico in the co-host seat. And then we have David X, who is from Represent. He's the guy that made our dope merch. He's a Bitcoiner. If you guys haven't seen the show, he's been on the show for a long time friend. And we're going to be talking about what it means to be a Bitcoin entrepreneur and maybe some special events in Vegas. Anyways, Nico, what's your thoughts on this, man? Are we just like getting caught up in the hopium here, or do you think 10x by 2029 is realistic?
Listen, I mean, this whole week, the general consensus was we played you guys videos from BlackRock. We played you guys videos from CEOs of, these asset managers. And the general consensus is Bitcoin should be way higher right now. If you unpack the news coming out of the White House. Essentially, this current administration is giving a rubber stamp of approval for Bitcoin companies to essentially develop without fear of government persecution. Breaking news, by the way, the Tornado Cash, the Tornado Cash sanctions, and the reason that's so important is Tornado Cash is open source software. Those sanctions got lifted, right? That news broke today. That's a huge win. So it's all pointing to a very positive regulatory environment for Bitcoin and Bitcoin entrepreneurs here in the United States. The announcement of the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, and I think what everyone is feeling, including Saylor, like we played you guys a clip, is like everything is all bullish. Like we're getting the bullish news of a bull run without a bull run in terms of the price action. So I think a lot of us are kind of feeling like a little bit like, a little bit impatient, right? You're like, you're thinking about 2021, you're thinking about 2017. You're like, what is happening here? And I think the bull run hasn't even started yet. And I think that if you pay attention to the fundamentals of Bitcoin, when Bitcoin peaked, I think it was like $109,000. It wasn't a strategic Bitcoin reserve, right? You didn't have all this amazing news coming out, right? None of that was true when it was at 109,000. So it was kind of like speculative when it was at that price point. The foundations have just gotten stronger. The hash rate continues to go up. So I think Bitcoin is going to perform amazingly. But right now, I think Senor Gringo Papi's like boring bull run. I think a lot of us are feeling that way. And that's been the general theme essentially for, this week of Simply Bitcoin, like our episodes. It's just been, it has been quite boring. That's the reality. It's been a little bit boring. But that's not to say that things can't change on a whim. And I think, if you, again, pay attention to the fundamentals, pay attention to who's saying what, I think, we are, exactly. Digital Bobby's, bringing up disbelief. If you guys look at the cheat sheet of Wall Street, disbelief is like one of the things, right? You don't believe that, it's because you've been so pounded to the ground emotionally by the ups and the downs that you just don't believe that good things could happen anymore. So I think we're in a holding pattern. I think my personal opinion, I think Bitcoin is definitely going to perform extremely well. It's only 5 years to the end of the decade. I wouldn't be exactly. Thanks, Opti. I wouldn't be surprised if, we saw between $500,000 to $1 million Bitcoin by 2025. I still think Bitcoin has 100x in it. I believe in Hal Finney's prediction of $10 million Bitcoin. I just don't know how long it's going to take. But look, it's infinity divided by 21 million. As long as they continue to print money, Bitcoin is going to go up and to the right forever. Like that's an undeniable fact. But I think people just have to listen. It's a very large asset. The market cap is massive. So, for Bitcoin to move the way that it's moved in the past, like it requires a lot more capital going into it, right? So I would say just keep your eye on the prize. Nothing has changed. The fundamentals haven't changed. Take Bitcoin into self-custody, lock away the key, and live your life. Just build value. And good things will happen to you. Stay humble, stack sats. Anyways, we have a very special guest joining us on the show today. Longtime friend of the show and supporter of the show. We got David joining us from Represent. For anyone who doesn't know, this awesome merch that we're wearing right now, David is the genius behind it. The high quality, the attention to details, the back where it says Bitcoiner slavery, Simply Bitcoin. This is the man. This is the genius behind it, David from Represent. So, David, thank you so much for joining us today, man. Listen, you got a business. You're a Bitcoiner, but if you're a Bitcoiner, even if you're not, I would say you are a Bitcoin business, man, for sure, because you're a Bitcoiner through and through. But how do you feel? How do you feel about this current bull run? Is it meeting expectations? Is it going below expectations? I mean, you hear all the news that Opti's posting, all these CEOs of these massive companies are saying, like, listen, this thing's going to like, this is 750K. Like, it's obvious. You have Bo Hines, the guy who's responsible for the strategic Bitcoin reserve. He's saying, like, look, like, the United States has every intention of acquiring Bitcoin. Like, that's not a rumor anymore. But the price hasn't gone up. So I think it's like a beach ball. If you hold a beach ball underwater, the longer you hold it and the deeper you go, the bigger the boom when it finally surfaces. So, David, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. And first off, going back to the merch, I'll take credit for the printing and making sure you guys got the good quality hoodies and hats and t-shirts. But the design was all you guys. Isaac killed it. I'm not sure if he's the one that designed it or not, but the design is really, really good. The attention to like the different orange that you guys used was really beautiful. But yeah, it came out good. Going to your point on the bull run, one, I think it's obviously, as we know, as we've talked about in the past, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. Also too, with like, the United States kind of, signaling that they're going to, create an SBR and stuff like that. For me, I'm kind of on the, F the government type of thing. I don't want them to acquire it because I want that for us and the people. But at the same time, Bitcoin is for your enemies, right? So whoever wants to adopt it is going to adopt it, and we'll see where it goes. And one point that I saw that Opti brought up on those infographics was that 3% adoption worldwide. I think that's high. I think that it's less than that, and I think we're going to see it, kind of cruise up. And even right now, the price suppression right now is just pretty. I don't know why it isn't going up. Everybody's signaling that they're buying, but for some reason they're just not. So I think we're seeing a lot of stuff from like last year. The economy was pretty rough. I saw it in the business, and this year things are starting to turn, and we'll see where it goes from here.
100%. Yeah. And let me ask you about that, David. So, again, a new administration that creates a lot of uncertainty in the markets. Obviously the rates are still high. It's a lot more expensive for people or businesses to borrow money. What's your take, man? Because I think a lot of people are feeling this malice or this uncertainty with this new administration. But if you take a look at what this new administration is doing, I mean, you would think it's bullish for businesses. It's good for businesses. It's good for individuals. So what's your take? Just the general trend on the economy based on your own business.
So right now we're seeing a big uptick. This year, 2025 has been outstanding. It's like almost like 2022, 2023 days where it's like we're selling really, really well. But who knows where it goes? I've been seeing a lot of prognosis from my business partner has another business, and they sell to like Home Depot and Wayfair and House and all the big ones. And we were getting prognosis in December that there's going to be a big recession in Q3, Q4. So right now on my end, I'm still bracing for that, but I'm obviously very hopeful that, things will keep on going the way it's been going for the last few months here. And we'll see where it goes. It's going to be interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, someone in the chat said kind of what David was saying. He said, "Dang, I can't find it, but it basically like money is tight right now. Like people are broke. That's probably why the price isn't going up." And I wasn't going to cover this today, but maybe we chat about it now because there was some bigger news going on. But I was asking Nico and David earlier, and I don't know if the chat you guys saw this, but it looks like DoorDash is doing like buy now pay. They're literally like they're breaking up payments on DoorDash right now. If that's not like a sign of the times of how people are with their money right now, I really don't know what it is. Like you literally have to break down, your $13 Chipotle burrito and pay in installments. Like maybe people are extremely broke right now in the fiat world because the money is broken. They haven't shifted over to a new money. And, times are tight for a lot of people. But us Bitcoiners, we're sitting here and we're like, man, when's this Bitcoin thing going to start running? Because what's going on here? They can't hold this price down for that much longer. But this is why we always say it's our mission to go out there and try to get more people to understand what's going on in the world, why they need to understand Bitcoin, why they need to start saving in Bitcoin. Because if you're not on a Bitcoin standard, a personal Bitcoin standard, like life is probably pretty rough for you right now. So you need to start stacking sats, guys. This is fundamentals to survival in the 2020 era. This is very simple stuff here. Anyways, Nico, let's move on because we got a jam-packed show. Like I told you guys,
Before we jump into it, I do want to give a shout out to the live stream. 1,258 live viewers and 60 of you guys watching live on Rumble. If you guys are enjoying the show so far, make sure to smash that like button. Help us break 100 likes within the first 30 minutes of the show. So the 350 of you guys watching live on YouTube, smash that like button. Really, really helps with the algos. Before we get on to the numbers segment, I do want to give a shout out to Simply Bitcoin's lead sponsor, by far the best place to build your automatic self-custody Bitcoin stack, bitcoinwell.com. To get there, go to bitcoinwell.com/simply, buy real Bitcoin, enable your independence with the fastest and safest way to buy Bitcoin on chain or via the Lightning Network in Canada and in the USA. You put in your email address. It takes 2 to 5 minutes to get signed up. What makes Bitcoin Well special and unique, and why we endorse it here at Simply Bitcoin, is that it's a completely non-custodial platform. So when you buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well, as soon as the funds clear, it goes straight to your self-custody Bitcoin wallet address. They don't even allow you to leave your Bitcoin on the exchange. If you're a higher net worth individual looking to buy $50,000 worth of Bitcoin or more, check out Bitcoin Well Infinite. It enables large Bitcoin investments personalized for you and your business. Benefit from a self-custody Bitcoin OTC experience to maximize your independence. To book a call, go to bitcoinwell.com/OTC. Tell them Simply Bitcoin sent you, and they'll take care of you. And if you live in the United States, they've had this feature in Canada for a long time. You can now get paid in Bitcoin sent directly to your personal Bitcoin wallet address. The way that it works is that you share your Bitcoin Well direct deposit details with your employer, set your Bitcoin/dollar split, and receive sats instead of fiat with every paycheck. If you use the promo code SimplyBTC to sign up to bitcoinwell.com today, you have an opportunity to win up to 1 million Satoshis just for signing up, because you get 3 tosses into the Bitcoin wishing well. Guys, what are you waiting for? Head over to bitcoinwell.com today. All right, everybody, let's hit the numbers.
I want to tell you guys about our sponsor, Stamp Seed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed words really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of writing them down on paper. Don't do that. Paper sucks. You want to literally stamp your seed into this plate of titanium. Your words are actually stamped into the metal plate with this hammer. So once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and your pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They are also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and most importantly, because this is generational wealth, time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin for the long haul. I mean, here is the plate that they crushed. They put in water, they put a blowtorch to it, and as you can see, the words have survived. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed. And you can use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on their store. Head over to stampseed.com today.
All right, everybody. If you use promo code SIMPLY, you get 15% off anything on the stampseed.com website. Don't store your seed phrase on paper. Don't do that. Write them or stamp them into frickin' titanium. Stampseed.com today, promo code SIMPLY. Opti.
Let's go. All right, guys. So, of course, we're over here on Clark Moody's dashboard. The current Bitcoin price is $84,070. The sats per dollar, a.k.a. how much Bitcoin you can buy for a single dollar, a.k.a. how much a dollar is worth in Bitcoin, is currently at 1,190 sats per dollar. The current block height is 888,786, and the market cap in fiat terms is currently at 1.67 trillion. The Bitcoin versus gold market cap, so much room to run in the hard money game, is at 7.76%, and the total percentage of Bitcoin that will ever be issued is currently at 94.47%, roughly 19.83 million Bitcoin in circulation. You might want to get some because the last million or so, It's going to be a next 100 years till that gets popped out for everyone and circulated. Anyways, the realized monetary inflation is currently at 0.91%. Dang, Nico, it feels like it just keeps going down. Like every day it's going lower and lower. It's incredible that people still don't understand that Bitcoin is the best money, perfect money. And that's a perfect segue here. Guys, yesterday, I highly recommend you watch this whole speech by Saylor. He made me super bullish. I haven't really watched like a full Saylor speech in a while, but this one was really good. And while I was watching it, I kind of had this idea that I think Saylor is tailoring his message to a whole new audience. And there's some things I agree with, some things I disagree with, and I'll talk about that afterwards. But as I said, I saw this and there was a portion, it's on this clip, where Saylor is basically saying, you know, Bitcoin's going to go to $200 trillion market cap in his lifetime. And I'm just trolling. I'm like, 200X still in play. I'm sure people thought I was saying 200K still in play. No, you heard me right. 200X still in play. But here's the first part of this. And I think this is some signal here that most people aren't understanding. Just the fundamental difference between Bitcoin and everything else. And this is why I think Saylor is getting even more bullish on everything he's doing. You know, he's super casual now. He's wearing these glasses. He's looking like Neo in the Matrix, just like pumping Bitcoin to a whole new audience. Obviously, you got to remember who the audience is. Now he's talking to politicians, the biggest institutional asset managers in the world. It's not just us plebs on the internet, you know, us everyday Bitcoiners. He's talking to the guys with the money. And he's shilling Bitcoin in a way where if you don't get bullish after this 30 minutes presentation by Saylor, I don't know what you're doing out there, but let's just watch a clip of this and then we'll discuss it.
I can tell you that I think the price of Bitcoin will go to 13 million over 20 years. I couldn't say that about a security, right? You have legal immunity to actually express your opinion about a commodity. That makes commodities politically superior, legally superior, ethically superior, financially superior to a non-commodity, to a security. And it's not just a little bit better, it's 100 times better, right? And so Bitcoin is a commodity. Bitcoin is actually the commodity. I studied commodities in my early professional years. Every other commodity can be created with technology, with capital, with know-how. If you were going to take your family's life savings and buy a commodity to hold for 100 years, and you thought about it, would you buy soybeans or corn or oil or natural gas or lumber, coal, silver? Well, no, they're all awful, and you know why they're awful, because it's pretty obvious to you that 100 years ago it was harder to make those things than it is today. And if the price of oil goes to $1,000 a barrel, we're going to frack it, triple frack it, hyper frack it, and we'll drive the price of oil down. Same with gold. There's been hyperinflation in gold multiple times. You know, the California 49ers found gold. We created so much gold that we crashed the economy of Europe. Every other commodity is going to actually explode in supply with technology and with price. That makes them all garbage investments for a long-term investor. They're, in fact, the worst possible investments as a long-term store of value. The king of them, gold, still underperforms the S&P index by a factor of 2 or more. So there's only one commodity in the history of the human race that wasn't a garbage investment. The one commodity is Bitcoin.
Yo, Saylor's out there at this digital asset summit literally just saying, yeah, gold's garbage. If you are investing in gold, what are you doing? And I love this bull posting version of Saylor. And we started this clip with like, in comparison to this one, we started this clip with like a very, you know, kind of small price prediction. Yeah, subdued conservative price prediction.
I mean, but hold on. Like, backtrack for a sec. I mean, $13 million Bitcoin in 20 years I don't think that's like.
That's his bear case, right? That's
like,
that's
no. That's his base. His bull is 49. His bear is 3 million.
Okay. All right.
So his base case is 13. His bear is 3. and his bull is $49 million per coin, which is just fucking insanity. Excuse my language. But okay, so but I did want to focus on the commodity aspect because I think that's really fascinating, and I think this is something that he has a really good way of explaining it. Bitcoin is unique because of its physical characteristics and because of its absolute scarcity. And what he was essentially saying is, like, gold is scarce without a doubt, but gold isn't absolutely scarce. So you can find gold, right, in the ground. Let's say you find this huge deposit, right? You know, like all of a sudden gold supply increases. There's like those articles, which I'm sure you guys have seen 1,000 of like those asteroids that like hold like significant amount of gold. You're not going to find an asteroid holding, 5 million Bitcoin. Like that's not going to happen, right? So the absolute scarcity is the differentiating factor here. And because the halving is every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin supply, that the downward sell pressure from the miners is just going to be essentially continue to get cut in half forever. And I think by the year 2025, I think it's like 99% of all Bitcoin have been mined. And then after that, it's going to take like 100 years. I think, no, by 2035, it's going to be like 99% of all Bitcoin has been mined. And then it's going to take 100 years for the rest of that 1% of Bitcoin to be mined. Like I think the last Bitcoin mined is like the year 2140 or something like that, something crazy like that. So the point is that like it's absolute scarcity. It is a commodity, and that's why it's the best asset the world has ever seen. And I think the world is finally waking up to that. I mean, we went from the U.S. government essentially wanting to ban this thing or ban any businesses that had any type of association with it. And then when the previous administration attacked our industry, it essentially galvanized us. We just like came together and we said, you know what? Like, F that. We're going to fight back. And essentially the Bitcoin lobbying arm became extremely powerful. And now we have a seat at the table in Washington, D.C. We were not in the room before. And if you're not in the room, you're not in the deal. Now we're in the effing room. I mean, not only are we in the room, they're holding entire meetings just related to Bitcoin. We played you guys a clip of the president essentially making, first time a US president has ever done this, where he zoomed in to an existing conference. So it wasn't president-elect that did that, trying to get votes. The president who's already in office is zooming into Bitcoin conferences, Bitcoin and crypto, a Bitcoin and crypto conference to be like, listen, it's all going to happen in the US. The numbers are going up forever. I mean, if that is not a testament to the influence and the power of our movement, I don't know what is, right? So we're winning. We're going to stay winning. I'm gonna get American HODL beat me by a week, but I'm gonna get on that tip. Fuck the price. It's going to 8 million. It's going up forever. It's going to the moon. Don't worry. Infinity divided by 21 million. This thing's gonna go. It's amazing. So yeah, we're in this chop solidation right now. They're trying to shake you out. If you sell your Bitcoin right now, more than likely you're selling it to the U.S. government or you're selling it to BlackRock. Could you imagine that conversation with your grandchild or your son fucking 20 years from now? And they're gonna be like, Dad, holy shit, whatever. Mother, you bought Bitcoin under 100,000? Like, wow, you're such a G. And it's like, no, I sold it because in 2025, the price was going sideways and I got bored as shit. And, I just sold my Bitcoin. Like, don't put yourself in that position. Imagine, like, you have the opportunity. You have a single opportunity. Can you imagine, like, 50 years from now, like, we're long gone, but there's like a portrait of you in the family home because they all looked at you.
Years.
We're still like,
alive in 50 years. Chill.
100 years. Okay, 50 years is too short, but like 100 years, or like 200 years, right? And it's like you have a portrait in your family home because you were the dude or the gal that bought Bitcoin under 100K. Like, that's the opportunity. That's the opportunity. That's what Michael Saylor's saying. I 100% agree with it. David, you've been at this for a while, man. I know you believe What's your take, dude? Are you feeling as bullish as we are? Go ahead.
Yeah, wait. I do want to chime in though, David, real quick, because before the show, you were trolling us. It's like the price doesn't matter, and here we're going just full bull-tarded on today's show.
It's like that one meme where it's like, hey dad, what did you do in 2025? You're like, stack sats, like, and then those girls like, fucking legend, you want to be that guy for sure. You don't want to be the guy like, I sold it all. Oh man, what a loser. But yeah. The other thing about gold though is like, one, we don't really know the supply of gold, right? We obviously know it's scarce, but we don't know the supply. And then when you factor in paper gold, like we don't even know. And then the president's trying to, audit Fort Knox, and he hasn't even been able to. Rand Paul's been trying to, audit Fort Knox for 10 years or whatever he said, and they haven't been able to. Like, is the gold even there? Yeah,
totally. Did you actually, speaking of that, did you see that clip? I don't know, Nico, if you saw it. Did you see the clip of
the gold? The gold ain't there, bro. The gold is not there.
Not only that, but there was a clip going around of Trump with I forget, some reporter, and it had totally nothing to do with the Fort Knox gold, but he was commenting on the gold plated stuff on the wall, and he's like, yeah, you can't just paint stuff gold. Like, it needs to be actually gold plated for it to actually look like gold. And everyone's like, what is this reference to? Like, is he planting these seeds to kind of talk about that the gold isn't actually at Fort Knox? Like, what is going on here? Why is he making this weird comment about, gold spray paint on the walls at the White House? And you're just like, what is actually going on here? Is he kind of like planting these seeds and saying that maybe the gold's not there?
I think he was just showing off. He's like, you see these angelic baby gold statues, like you can't paint that. That has to be real gold. Like, oh my God, Trump's a trip, dude.
He's like, Mar-a-Lago's got real gold, unlike Fort Knox.
Dude, that guy's a trip. Anyways, guys, I do want to give a shout out to the stream. 1,700 of you guys watching live between YouTube and X, and almost 70 of you guys watching live on Rumble. If you guys are enjoying the show so far, make sure to smash that like button. Smash the like button, share the content, get the message out there. Before we move on to the news segment, we have breaking news, Tornado Cash. Their sanctions have been lifted. The reason that this is a big deal is because Tornado Cash is open source software. So you see where that was heading eventually, right? If the US government is setting a precedent that it could sanction open source software, and you know how the previous administration felt about Bitcoin. So, where would that go? I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. Anyways, I do want to give a shout out to our merch made by David here. David's an absolute, this is incredible. Incredible quality, guys. You guys want to get it while supplies last. We're almost sold out of the hoodie completely. The t-shirts, check them out as well. And of course, the hat, the dad hat and the trucker hat. I don't look good with hats, but people love hats. Check those out because they will sell out. And I think I have like 3 of these hoodies to myself already because they're so effing comfortable. Like, you guys have no idea. So if you guys want to support the show, we get this message all the time. Nico, how can we support the show? Number one, check out our partners. That's number one thing you could do. And of course, if you guys have some extra, money left over, buy Bitcoin first. Head over to simplybitcoin.com. Check out our latest collection. It's called the Rebirth Collection. And check out our merch, and we'll ship it to you. It comes with custom Simply Bitcoin packaging and everything. It's awesome. The tags, David, they say Bitcoin or slavery, right? Yep. The tags say Bitcoin or
underneath that. Yeah, they does say it.
Man, it's David is an absolute genius. All right, guys, we're gonna hit the news. We have tons to talk about. We will be right back.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Casa. Bitcoin security matters, but managing private keys can sometimes be complicated, especially multi-sig. What if you can secure your Bitcoin without worrying about losing a seed phrase or giving up custody? With Casa, you can completely control your Bitcoin with multi-key security, so even if one key is lost or stolen, your funds stay safe. No single point of failure, no stress. That's what I absolutely love about these guys. They make taking Bitcoin into self-custody incredibly easy with their best in industry user experience through their app. I've been personally recommending Casa for years now to my friends and family because they will get all the benefits of multi-key self-custody security without the hassle of having to learn complicated UI. And if you're thinking of one day passing on your Bitcoin to the next generation, their inheritance plan has you covered. Also, if you're a business looking to add Bitcoin to your treasury, do it the secure way with Casa for Business. To get started, go to casa.io today and get 5% off Casa Standard or Casa Premium with promo code SIMPLY. Need liquidity without having to sell your Bitcoin? For more than 6 years now, Ledn has been the trusted choice for Bitcoin-backed lending with transparency, security, and trust at their core. I absolutely love these guys, and I personally have not only an account with them, but also a loan. And some of the key features that I love about Ledn is the fact that there are no monthly payments. You pay at the end of the term. You also have the ability to roll over the loan as well, and you can pay it back whenever you want. Essentially what they do is that they help their clients unlock the liquidity of their BTC, allowing you to hodl while still accessing the wealth of your Bitcoin. They've been battle tested with their focus on transparency, security, and trust, allowing them to build a proven track record of client success and security, helping tens of thousands of clients harness the value of their digital assets with confidence and peace of mind. Learn more about what your BTC can do for you. Check out ledn.io today.
All right, everybody, we are back. Opti, I mean, this is a big deal. This is a big deal, is it not?
Yeah, man. We actually have two really big news stories coming out today. This just happened right before we went live, so I wanted to slip this in here. Of course, the U.S. Department of Treasury made a press release around Tornado Cash, and as you can read here, Tornado Cash delisting. So, based on the administration's review of the novel legal and policy issues raised by use of financial sanctions against financial and commercial activity occurring within evolving technology and legal environments, we have exercise our discretion to remove the economic sanctions against Tornado Cash as reflected in Treasury's Monday filing in Van Loon, First Department of the Treasury. Of course, we remain deeply concerned about the significant state-sponsored hacking and money laundering campaign aimed at stealing, acquiring, and deploying digital assets for the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and the Kim's regime. Treasury remains committed to using our authorities to expose and disrupt the ability of malicious cyber actors to profit from their criminal activities through the exploitation of digital assets and the digital assets ecosystem. And of course, we're also committed to enforcing our sanctions against the DRPK to constrain the regime's ability to fund its weapons and mass destructions and ballistic missile programs. Treasury will continue to monitor closely any transactions that may benefit malicious cyber actors or the DPRK, and U.S. persons should exercise caution before engaging in transactions that present such risk. And then we have a quote here by Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent. Digital assets present enormous opportunity for innovation and value creation for the American people. Securing the digital asset industry from abuse by North Korea and other illicit actors is essential to establishing U.S. leadership and ensuring that the American people can benefit from financial innovations and inclusion. So this is a huge, huge win. I would argue, we would argue here, Nico and I, when we first heard the Tornado Cash story or case kind of happening, everyone on the channel and in the audience is like, yo, this doesn't have to do with Bitcoin. Why are we even talking about it? But as we later saw, this was precedent for the Samurai Wallet case. And now this is getting delisted. So hopefully this is really good news moving forward for the Samurai Wallet crew. But it does start to look like what we've been saying here for the last couple of weeks, that it looks like the regulatory hurdles, all of Operation Choke Point 2.0, all the attacks we've seen around Bitcoin, they all seem to be falling away. And I think this is just a sign of what we're going to see moving forward. So this is a huge win here for open source technology development, and you just love to see it. So I'm sure we will get some news coming up soon around the Samurai wallet. But Nico, chime in here before I move on to the SEC news, because we also got some really good news coming out of the SEC and proof of work mining.
Please. Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, this is a massive, like, make no mistake, this is a massive victory for the entire industry. We were covering this as it was happening last year, and it was a series of events, right? So first, it was essentially demonizing Tornado Cash, because again, you have to understand, like, they have to set precedents and they have to go towards smaller targets before they end up with bigger targets, right? So the reason that they went after Tornado Cash was because they were essentially, they boogeymaned it. They said, oh my God, Tornado Cash is being used by North Korea in order to launder money. Okay, that's fine. But what they forget to mention, what they conveniently leave out, is that the majority of illicit finance is actually done through the traditional financial system. It's not done through Bitcoin. So, but they were using this kind of boogeyman argument to essentially justify the sanctioning of open source software. Now, Coin Center essentially sued the government and said, listen, you can't do that. That's software, that's code. Code is speech. This is a very dangerous precedent. Like, what are you guys doing? That case was lost. They shot it down in federal court. Literally, as soon as that court case was shot down in federal court, you know what happened shortly after? The arrest of the Samurai wallet developers. So they started off with a unpopular, essentially kind of privacy, mixing type software, which no one controls, which no one knows, is very obscure. Then when they got away with it, they set a precedent, and then they were able to go after a bigger fish, which was the Samurai wallet developers, right? And this was around the time where, like, I went from, like, Opti, we can't be political, the famous Optigate, like, Opti, we can't be political, to, guys, it's probably a good idea to vote for Trump 2024. So, like, it was a series of events that this transpired. And look, now that essentially the Treasury, which is controlled by the executive branch, meaning it's controlled by the president, has reversed its decision, delisted Tornado Cash, lifted the sanctions from it. I'm going to say what I've been saying for the better half of this year. Elections have consequences. We told you so. Like, this was an inevitability. This was going to happen. And I'll say another thing. We won. We won. This was a massive victory. I can't emphasize this enough, because if this trend were to continue the way it was heading, essentially, one day, it was an inevitability. They would have said, listen, Bitcoin is dangerous because Russia's using Bitcoin, and Russia's using Bitcoin to essentially circumvent U.S. sanctions. And because they're doing that, we got to sanction Bitcoin because it's an open source software. And we've already set the precedent in doing so. And we know that the Elizabeth Warren camp, which a lot of people speculate is the people that were influencing the Biden administration regarding their policy towards Bitcoin, we know what they want. She wants essentially to create a monopoly for the rollout of the central bank digital currency, which we know the Federal Reserve was working on. There's congressional testimony of Senator Cynthia Lummis basically saying, hey, I got a memo from you guys, and at the very bottom, it says a central bank digital currency. Like, I thought you guys weren't working on that. Of course they were working on that. They had every intention of rolling that out. That's what Elizabeth Warren wanted to do. I'll leave it with this. There was a vote last year in the House, and I asked Senator Lummis this when I interviewed her in D.C. There was a vote in the House last year where the Republicans passed a law that would forbade the federal government from rolling out a central bank digital currency. Almost every Republican voted for that bill. The ones that didn't just didn't vote that day. Almost every Democrat voted against that bill that would forbid the federal government from rolling out a CBDC. It wasn't monolithic. There are some Democrats that voted against the CBDC stuff, but the vast majority of the party did, right? And now, is that an indication the party feels that way? No. I think Elizabeth Warren holds a tremendous amount of influence. And make no mistake, in the battle, the policy battle for Bitcoin in the US, this was a massive, massive, massive win. And it's a reminder that, again, elections have consequences. Because if Kamala would have won, and it's not about left or right, it's not about Democrat or Republican, it's about either you're a pro-Bitcoin candidate or you're an anti-Bitcoin candidate. And this previous election, it was very obvious. There was a pro-Bitcoin candidate and there was an anti-Bitcoin candidate. If Kamala would have won, Bitcoin would probably still be at like 40 or 50K. Ross would still be in prison. SAB 121 wouldn't have been repealed. And this news coming out about Tornado Cash, it would have gotten worse. They would have gotten after another open source software, slowly, setting precedents and getting one step closer to Bitcoin. Because remember what they wanted. They essentially wanted that every node, they were trying to make the case that every node had to apply KYC. Because if it didn't apply KYC, it would be considered, a money transmitter, right? Which is BS, but they're trying to get away with that. So make no mistake, this is a big victory, and I hope it's a reminder to all the Bitcoiners who were watching us at the end of last year when we were saying, guys, like, we know the orange man isn't perfect, politics sucks, but there are actual consequences for us depending on who gets into office. And this is just another reminder of that, right? So as the Bitcoin movement continues to get bigger, as our movement continues to get more influential, inevitably we were going to start to, tiptoe into the political realm. Obviously, it happened a lot faster than we anticipated, but at the same time, that's a good thing because at least we're going to be able to influence what is happening in the world around us. I would rather have a Bitcoiner in the room in Washington, D.C. than not have a Bitcoiner in the room in Washington, D.C. Now, is the current administration perfect? No. He did launch Trump Coin 3 days before the inauguration. There's a lot of things we're not happy about. Brad Garlinghouse was at the crypto summit. Like, that's not a good look. But again, beggars can't be choosers. I would rather have this than the opposite, which was total totalitarianism, right? Anyhow, that's my bit. Big win for us. I mean, Opti, like we've gone full circle. And we went covering this. Things were getting dark. We were thinking about moving to El Salvador look at how far we've come, man.
Yeah, and further, just doubling down on the meme of elections have consequences. We are seeing even more downstream consequences here. And the next portion is this announcement from the SEC. And it's a statement on, quote, certain proof of work mining activities. I'm going to read the introduction just so you guys get an idea, and then I'll give you guys the meat of this, and then we'll get David to chime in on both of these. So introduction is part of an effort to provide greater clarity on the application of the federal security laws to crypto assets. The Division of Corporation Finance is providing its views on certain activities on proof of work networks known as, quote, mining. Specifically, this statement addresses the mining of crypto assets that are intrinsically linked to the programmatic functioning of a public permissionless network and are used to participate in and or earn for participating in such networks consensus mechanism or otherwise used to maintain and or earned for maintaining the technological operation and security of such network. Essentially, just proof of work mining. That's what they're laying on. And then there's this whole portion of basically what is proof of work mining. They actually kind of named it. They added some kind of strange names to this. But anyways, they're calling proof of work mining protocol mining in this statement. So here's like the meat and potatoes of this statement. The division view pertains to the following protocol mining activities or proof of work mining activities and transactions, quote, mining activities, and each a mining activity. 1, mining crypto assets, Bitcoin assets on a proof of work network, and 2, the roles of mining pools and pool operators involved in the protocol mining process, including their roles in connection with the earning and distribution of rewards. So it's laying out solo mining and mining pools. And here we go. The discussion, Section 2A1 of the Securities Act and Section 3A1 of the Exchange Act each defines the term security by providing a list of various financial instruments, including stock, note, and bond. Because of covered crypto asset does not constitute any of the financial instruments that are specifically enumerated in the definition of security, we conduct our analysis of certain transactions involving crypto assets in the context of proof of work mining under the quote investment contract test set forth in SEC versus WJ Howie Co. The Howie test is used to analyze arrangements or instruments not listed in those statutory sections based on their economic realities. In evaluating the economic realities of a transaction, the test is whether there is an investment of money in an enterprise premised on a reasonable expectation of profits to be derived from the entrepreneur or managerial efforts of others. And federal courts, since Howie, have explained that Howie's efforts of others requirement to satisfy when the efforts made by those or others and this investor are the undeniably significant ones. Essentially, here it is. The miner's self or solo mining is not undertaken with a reasonable expectation of profits to be derived from the entrepreneur or managerial efforts of others. Rather, a miner contributes its own computational resources, which secure the network and enable the miner to earn rewards issued by the network. And going further, likewise, when a miner combines its computational resources with other miners to increase their chances of successfully mining new blocks on the network, the miner has no expectation of profit derived from the entrepreneurial or managerial efforts of others by adding its own network. So essentially, TLDR here is basically what our girl Lola Leach says. Good morning. The SEC just declared Bitcoin miners are exempt from SEC oversights. It is division view that mining activities do not involve the offer and sale of securities. Accordingly, it is the division's view that participants in mining activities do not need to register transactions with the commission. So another huge win coming down the pipeline. Yes, I know a lot of Bitcoiners are apolitical. They don't like politics. I was apolitical before Bitcoin, but now we realize, hey, politics is on our door. And as Nico's been saying, elections have consequences. And, Trump isn't perfect, but it's starting to look like a lot of the regulatory hurdles we've been seeing around Bitcoin, whether it's Operation Choke Point 2.0, whether it's the SEC's bad treatment of Bitcoin, whether it was the court cases around open source software, it seems like those things are going out the window. And now the SEC has just announced that mining Bitcoin is not a security. So it's looking really good for Bitcoin companies in the US. I think this is another huge win here. It's it is kind of like the meme here. I think we're going to get tired of winning, and every new win we're like, okay, this is a cool win, but why is it the Bitcoin price pumping, man? Like, what is going on here? So actually, sorry, David, I'll give you a moment, but Nico, you are or were a miner. So what's the significance of this?
I mean, connecting it with what I was saying, right? Like, it's the same thing. And this is why, why the F is the price not going up? Is it being suppressed? This is bullish news across the board. The regulatory environment, it's the parting of the seas. If you're a Bitcoin entrepreneur in the United States, you do not feel any type of pressure. Like, compared to the previous administration, they were proposing a 30% Bitcoin mining tax. Could you imagine? That would essentially drive any miner out of business. And they know that. They knew that. It wasn't a tax because they wanted to tax stuff. It was a tax because, they essentially wanted to drive miners out of business. And then the whole thing that drives me crazy, and I'm going there because it's Friday and fuck it. Okay, so the whole thing was like environment. The environment is this and the environment is that. Meanwhile, they're burning fucking Teslas. Like, come on now. Isn't Tesla the electric car company with the mission to better the environment? Isn't that the whole mission of the Tesla? And now because of Elon's politics, they're burning Teslas. And there was there was a senator who sold his Tesla and got a Ford F-150, like a gas guzzler. So I'm thinking, So this wasn't about the environment. Was this ever about the environment? Like if it was about the environment, you'd be like, okay, you know, Elon, I don't agree with Elon. What he's doing is kind of fucked up, but this is an electric car company. It had nothing to do with the environment. It was politics the entire time, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm really glad, you know, that this happened. You know, I'm really glad that this recent outcome. It's good for miners. It's good for Bitcoin businesses. It's good for Bitcoin entrepreneurs. Elections have consequences. And I mean, you see it from a lot of mining companies. Like a friend of mine, he's the CEO of one of those publicly traded Bitcoin mining companies, and they moved their headquarters to the US. Also, HIVE Digital Technologies, they moved their headquarters to Texas, right? So, you know, again, it's the proof is in the pudding. Like, don't listen to what I'm saying. Like, why would they be moving their headquarters to the US if they didn't feel bullish about the situation? So, you know, someone in the chat is like, no, it was never about the environment. I mean, you got to give people the benefit of the doubt. Me and Opti we gave the benefit of the doubt for like 2 years, to the point that Opti was like, Nico, you're an idiot, bro. Like, you're an idiot. Like, what are you doing, dude?
Dude, I'm having deja vu right now.
And then I was like, dude, like, no, man, like, we have to be inclusive with our messaging. Like, you know, we have to be smart about this. But then it was like, then they started putting Bitcoin privacy developers in prison, right? And then at that point, it's like, you know what, like, guys, like, you know, it's just like they're going after us. And I was actually talking to Nick Bhatia. I think that show will release on Saturday and Sunday. He's releasing a new book called Bitcoin Age. But he actually brought something up that I've said on the show a couple times, which is, I think you can make a very solid argument that this anti-Bitcoin stance that the opposing political party took on this previous election might have cost them the election, because a big part of their voting demographic is the younger generation, and the younger generation feel very good about Bitcoin and crypto. So it's not politically popular to have an anti-Bitcoin stance, right? So you can make that argument, right? Maybe it's wrong, maybe it isn't. I guarantee it cost them some votes, right? And an election that was going down to the line, like, perhaps it wasn't wise. So yeah, man, I mean, again, the general message here is elections have consequences. I hope, because I truly believe that Bitcoin is not a partisan technology. Bitcoin is for everyone. I hope that this election is going to change. It's going to make Bitcoin a nonpartisan issue, as it should be, because it's a nonpartisan technology. It's a technology for everyone. We were forced to pick a side as Bitcoiners because the other side essentially would be the demise of the Bitcoin industry in the United States. And it kind of forced us into a corner, not because we wanted to, but because we had no choice, right? So you could even make an argument that if they weren't so hostile towards our industry, I don't think our industry would have gotten political. I don't think anyone would have I don't think the Bitcoin industry would have been like, hey, Trump's probably a good idea. Like, I don't think people would have cared. It would have just been business as usual. No one would have cared. But the fact that they attacked us, the fact that they jailed us, forced us into a corner, and it made us react. And the outcome is essentially the exact opposite of everything they wanted to happen, 6 months ago, right? So yeah, I mean, elections have consequences. Don't mess with us. Look, the outcome is there. And yeah, I mean, we're winning. That's my take on all this. I know I went on a little bit of a tangent, but it is Friday. I'm in the co-host seat. It's a lot easier to just ramble and talk and not be hosting. David, I'm going to give you the mic because I just went on a 20-minute soapbox rant. What's your take on all this, man?
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that the state is out of control, and I think that's a big problem. I kind of look at things from a different point of view, where I believe that we should just start going peer to peer. I think we should start going more like, Bitcoin to Bitcoin businesses and stuff like that. I don't believe in the state. I don't vote. I don't get involved in that at all. I don't try to give them any power. I don't acquiesce as much as possible and wherever I can. And I think that's where we as Bitcoiners need to go. I would kind of argue maybe the other side of it would be like if Kamala Harris did win, right? It might have kind of ramped things up a little bit more. It got people kind of off their seat and a little bit more, like, hey, we need to really, push the envelope here and get some things going as far as like development goes and getting, more private ways to transact and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of my take on it. I'm a little bit more on the anarchist side, and that's where I'm at.
Let me ask you something though, David. I don't mean to put you on the spot, like, and that's essentially all the blowback that we got when we started essentially like saying like, all right, guys, Trump or RFK, all the blowback was from most Bitcoiners that have that school of thought, which is like, it's not red versus blue. There's the state and then there's you, right? My response to that would be, if we all thought that way, then Ross wouldn't be free right now. Like if we all thought that way, this positive regulatory environment in the United States would not be the case. Therefore, if you're trying to build a Bitcoin business in the US, it wouldn't be possible. Are you just saying like, look, like, are you coming from the camp of accelerationism, right? Whereas it's like if Kamala got in, things would have gotten so bad that the free market would have taken care of things. People would have moved to El Salvador, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, free market to me is always going to win no matter what. I see it in my business and the way I've developed my business. The free market will win no matter what. I think just the fact that we even have Bitcoin is like, a tremendous discovery or, innovation in itself. So I think the free market does win. I think it does. Gotcha.
Yeah, no. And that's a good point. I mean, I remember Opti was saying that as well. So yeah. And I agree. I think the question is like, David, is like, how much pain do we have to endure? Right. And I think, obviously with the current Trump administration, I think we avoided a lot of pain. But I think the counter argument from a free market perspective to that would have been like, yeah, I mean, you're just delaying the inevitable, right? Yeah. And if this is the separation of money and state, there's an inevitability there to the point where, as Bitcoiners, like, and as much as Saylor says this, and I do agree, Bitcoin is a commodity, but Bitcoin is also money, right? So yeah, I agree, man. I think that's a good take, good perspective. I think me and Opti were just for. Opti didn't want to move. Opti wanted to stay here.
I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Literally, guys, publicly, like you guys saw the OptiGate stuff. And even privately, me and Nico were like having real arguments around politics. And, because I do come from more like the same kind of thinking that David does. Now I'm kind of realizing like, look, and someone was joking, Nico. They're like, all right, can someone say Overton window? I need a shot. It's Friday.
Oh, we didn't say it.
I know we didn't say
right?
it once. And this is the point. And like, I think the point is like, we haven't gotten to that point yet where everyone kind of agrees with what David or I would say here. Like a lot of people are still in this idea of like, things are okay. I don't know about this whole, like free for all Mad Max world. Like that sounds even worse than what we have. And I think we're getting to a point now where it's becoming very obvious that a lot of the stuff us Bitcoiners have been saying for years now is very true, whether it's like government mismanagement, all the money they're printing, like, the classic quote of like, what does the government do that is better than the free market? I think people are starting to realize, especially this week, it's been a really big week on Twitter. The last 2 weeks have been really big. A lot of the stuff that the Trump administration is releasing and exposing, whether it's Doge, etc. Like, I think people are starting to get pushed, and that Overton window is getting pushed, and people are starting to be like, wait, like what is going on here? Wait, like, is this really how the world works? So I think, me and David are like, come on, guys, you guys will get there soon enough. But I just don't think most people are ready for it. Like, America isn't ready for it, but they're slowly but surely waking up to these facts, and the world is waking up as well. So soon enough, I think we'll get somewhere where, like, I wouldn't say like a libertarian utopia stuff, but I think people are starting to wake up to the idea that maybe a smaller government is beneficial to us as individuals. So long way to go. but we're getting there. Anyways, let's get into the culture because we want to talk with David about Represent, about our new merch. We're super hyped on this. So let's get into this.
Wait. Before we do that, hold up. I do want to give a shout out to the live stream. Appreciate the 2,000 of you guys watching live between YouTube and X. And of course, shout out to the Rumble audience, the most hardcore audience of them all. If you guys want to see a chat that's constantly crapping on me and Opti, check out the Rumble chat. It is absolutely savage. Appreciate you guys coming back every day, though. It's just troll Nico and Opti chat on Rumble. But if you guys
more Nico than Opti, but we'll take it.
I feel like the YouTube chat likes me more. But if there's a lot to read into that, right? If you guys are enjoying the show so far, make sure to smash that like button. We're at 180 likes on YouTube. Help us break 200 likes by the time the show ends. So the 350 of you guys watching live on YouTube, smash that like button. Guys, it helps tremendously with the algorithms. All right,
wait, Nico, before we go on, if this is big, if true, Jim Cramer just said Bitcoin will never go to 1 million.
Oh, it's over.
It's over.
It's over. We're going to be really, really rich. All right, everybody. We're going to hit the culture. We're going to be right back.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technologies. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's positioned to quadruple their global footprint in 2025. And as the first with an AI strategy, HIVE continues to make moves in sustainable, high-performance computing. They consistently top the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash, and now they're headquartered in the USA. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're changing the game. You can catch the latest buzz by following them at HIVE Digital Tech or check out their website at hivedigitaltech.com. I want to give a shout out to our partner, CoinKite. If you take your Bitcoin security seriously, you'll need the best Bitcoin hardware wallet on the market to take self-custody. That's where Cold Card comes in. The Cold Card Q is the most advanced Bitcoin signing device ever made. It's got a full keyboard, larger screen, and NFC support, making air-gap signing easier than ever. It's built for power users who want the ultimate security without sacrificing usability. And if you're looking for a battle-tested, uncompromising cold storage, the Cold Card MK4 is your go-to with PSPT signing, an industrial-grade secure element, and USB-C. It's the perfect blend of security and convenience. Both devices are, of course, 100% Bitcoin only, open source, and built by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. Secure your Bitcoin the right way with the Cold Card Q and the MK4. Head over to coldcard.com today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 5% off anything on the store.
All right, everybody, I'm holding it in my hand. This is the Cold Card Q. It's incredibly awesome. This is our daily driver here at Simply Bitcoin. It makes spending Bitcoin in self-custody and cold storage incredibly easy without sacrificing convenience. Highly recommend it. It's incredibly easy to use. Use promo code SIMPLY to get 5% off anything on the Cold Card store. The Cold Card is considered the best Bitcoin hardware wallet in Bitcoin. Check it out. Head over to coldcard.com, and if you use promo code SIMPLY, you get 15% off. I think I see David holding a Cold Card. Is that true? There you go. See?
I got the old one. I want that new screen.
There we go. That's the MK4, which is a good one as well. But yeah, head over to Cold Card today, guys. Use promo code SIMPLY. Store your Bitcoin properly. Anyways, I'm super excited to have David on the show today. Weinicus, you want to come? Come here, Weinicus.
In the building.
Come here, Weinicus. So we got Weinicus in the house. Weinicus is responsible for the design, and he's putting on the hoodie. And then David is responsible for the manufacturing. Here's Wine.
I'm shadowy today.
He's a shadowy Weinicus. Yeah, go. If you guys want to support the show, check out Simply Bitcoin.
Steal all the girlfriends.
But yeah, so David has representltd.com, and David is a Bitcoiner. Represent makes incredible merch. Opti, we should go to representltd.com.
I got it right here.
Thank you, sir. And they're constantly dropping new collections. You guys are partnered with Nate Diaz, is that correct?
Yeah, Nate Diaz is one of the owners of the company as well.
That's awesome. Guys, this is extremely high quality merch and clothing. It's extremely comfortable. I at least have 50 or 60 Represent hoodies. And anytime I just want to get comfortable, I just start switching them. And I have the camo. Oh, remember the Simply Bitcoin camo hoodie?
Yeah, that one was hard.
Oh man, I love that one. So yes, guys, Represent is awesome, and David is a Bitcoiner through and through. In fact, me and David have known each other since the very early days of Simply Bitcoin. That's how far we go back. And David has always been a huge supporter of the show, and of course, we continue to work with him. So, David, thank you so much for joining us, man. I have so many. Look at that one; it's so sick. I know Opti loves that one.
Why do you think I clicked on it?
So David, like, how's it been? Like, you're a Bitcoiner, but this isn't. I mean, if you're a Bitcoiner and you have a business, it's a Bitcoin business by default. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, you guys sell merchandise, you guys sell clothing. How has Bitcoin essentially? How has it helped you? Has it changed your outlook? Has it helped your business? What's that been like, David?
Yeah, so one, we implemented payments on our website. You know, we actually take Bitcoin and Lightning through Strike, and that was kind of a cool integration. But even before that, like when I first got into Bitcoin, I was like so hyped and like excited about it, and I was like, this is gonna change the world, and and I created like a Bitcoin collection, and it just wrote like a whole thing. I had like little links, I think, to you guys, to Max Kaiser, to the Breedlove and Saylor interview, the iconic one with all the episodes. And I was just kind of pushing it. And I've always tried to kind of just push it like low key, because obviously we have a different audience. We're one of the top brands in MMA and combat sports. So I just try to like stick it in there as much as I possibly can and try to get some normies to kind of cross over and see the Bitcoin way of life. And luckily, I mean, just through pushing it little by little, people have actually adopted it, and they buy it and they're holding it. And people that I wouldn't expect to do it, they're like, "Hey man, thanks for letting me know about that. We just, we ran up. I'm like, oh shoot, you bought Bitcoin? That's great." And you actually listened. And I'm like, now self-custody, I'll help you out with that, whatever you need to do, and then take it from there. But it's a cool journey. And at the end of the day, it's like, I kind of feel weird chilling, like hey, buy my clothes or whatever. But yeah, that's what we do. And if you like the stuff, let me know. DM me. I'll get you like a special discount code or something like that. And I don't like to make too much money off of Bitcoiners. I always try to like over deliver. Any of the Bitcoiners that know me, they'll DM me and say, "Hey, I just ordered. Thanks for your purchase." And I'll throw in extra stuff, and any other Bitcoin merch that we have laying around, they'll throw it in there. Just to add some value to it.
Yeah, man, bro. And again, also the quality, dude. The quality, right? We take pride in I don't want to name any names or anyone, but this is not drop shipped. We buy the inventory beforehand. David, again, you guys do all this stuff in-house. This is not something that you guys outsource. And that's why it's so comfortable. Like, I'm constantly wearing either Simply Bitcoin Represent hoodies. I'm a hoodie type of guy, or just Represent hoodies in general, because it's just so I have my, like, I think like 60% of my closet at home, it's just hoodie over hoodie over hoodie, and all the different designs that you guys have made over the years.
I gotta send Opti a care package for sure.
Hey,
there you go. Yeah,
I got the old Represent care package, the Simply Bitcoin stuff. But I don't know, this new stuff is lit. And actually, I do want to say something, because guys, if you're buying the merch, again, I was hounding wine about this, and me and David were talking about this earlier on the show. It's all 100% cotton. It's all good cuts. So the t-shirts are a little oversized. I usually wear between like large and extra large, and I got the XL one, and it's a little big. So like I would say downsize a little bit on the t-shirts, but the hoodies are pretty much like true fit. So that's just something I'd keep in mind for you guys. But like the quality is incredible, guys. So this is like I was telling David before the show, I was hounding wine about this. I wanted us to give the best merch possible. Like the quality is great. When you feel the quality of the merch, you're going to be like, okay, like I'm super hyped on this. It's really good quality. It's even got like stylish cuts. It's trendy. It's dope, man. David killed it. And he's a Bitcoiner, and this is why we love partnering with David about this, because the merch is just great, man. It's just fucking awesome. So I'm super hyped on what we delivered. Though, as I was saying, man, we should have bought more. Like, what next batch is going to be more?
That's what Isaac was saying. He's like, hey man, like, I think we're almost sold out, dude. Like, we gotta order more. I'm like, oh shoot, really already? Good for you guys, man. But that's an attribute to where Simply Bitcoin has grown. I mean, like Nico said, it's like, we're there in the early days. I remember, 300 views and stuff like that. And now to see you guys, 2,000 people in the live stream is pretty insane. It's a tribute to your guys' hard work and effort, man. It's good to see.
I appreciate it, David. I mean, it's really kind words, dude. And, I appreciate your support in the early days. Someone's asking, are you going to have merch at BitBlockBoom?
If we have any left.
Winekiss is signaling, he's nodding yes. So I'm gonna yeah, we should definitely bring some if there's any left. Exactly. They are selling out pretty quickly, guys. So but anyhow, David, it's been an honor having you on the show.
Wait. One last thing. David was telling us you guys might be doing a very cool event in Vegas. So let's plug that, and maybe the people in the audience want to go hang out there.
Yeah. So our group, Triple Elite Memes on Twitter or X or whatever. So every conference, and the first one is at BitBlockBoom, but we do like these Bitcoin fight clubs where you get in there with the referee. We have insurance and all that good stuff, and make sure nobody gets hurt. And we basically position these fights together. And if anybody wants to get in there and mix it up with someone else, we got about 4 fights on the card right now. But aside from that, we're also going to bring in some like UFC fighters, some pro fighters, and they're going to come in and do like a little seminar. So even if you don't want to fight per se, you can check out the fights, or you can also come in and just like, roll like jiu-jitsu. We're going to do like a little bit of striking and stuff like that. It's for all levels, just get your feet wet, just kind of enjoy it. I train jiu-jitsu regularly. I swear by it. It'll change your life, and it's a good thing to do. I think it's a Bitcoin way of life for sure.
Let's go. And also, I went to the first one. The first one was super tight. It was super fun.
Yeah.
But hey, David, you said you might have a website. Do you have that? Maybe we can drop that for the chat. If not, I guess just follow you on Twitter, plug your Twitter, and I'm sure you'll repost that and people can keep in touch with that.
Yeah. So it's at Bit Fight Club is the official handle. I don't think there's a website per se, but we do say sign the waiver. So if you come in and you're going to fight, you're going to sign the waiver and stuff like that. And that'll be pretty cool. And then I'm at I am David X on Twitter as well. So feel free to DM me. And if anybody wants to purchase anything, I'll give you like a 40-50% off code or whatever. I like to support Bitcoiners for sure, 100%. I don't want to make too much money. Like I don't want it to be a shield type of thing.
I appreciate it. Yeah, man. David is the GOAT. When I had my wife and I had the baby, we just got a bunch of baby merch that David just sent. No warning, no nothing. And, it was very, very kind. So David is extremely generous, and his clothing is extremely, extremely high quality. So I can't recommend it enough. Go to representltd.com. And of course, if you guys want to support Simply Bitcoin, check out the new merch drop. But yeah, I appreciate you joining us on the show, David. And thank you so much for supporting us, man, for so long. It really means the world to us.
Yeah, you guys are awesome, man. The fact that you guys keep on the grind and stuff is just, I know how it is. It's a tough grind, and getting that hopium out there all the time it's what we need as Bitcoin.
Man, appreciate it. One day at a time. One day, survive to fight another day, right? That's how it goes. Anyways, guys, appreciate everybody for tuning in. March 21st, 2025. I'm your co-host, Nico. The host today's Optimus Fields in the host chair. And of course, our special guest, David X. Go check out representltd.com. Get some of the best merch around, some of the best clothing, extremely comfortable. They have everything, hoodies, t-shirts, sweatpants. I love, big fan of the sweatpants. They got everything. Just check out their collection, representltd.com. Anyways, love you all. Everybody have an amazing weekend, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.